ahoy, ahoy, and welcome back to the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast. And today's episode, we have a local legend, Rock Anello. Rock has been active in the music scene here in the central Susquehanna Valleys for years, and we're going to sit down and learn about his life story, his time in Colorado, hanging out with Chicago at the Caribou Ranch, and that time that he pickpocketed the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. Plus, his involvement and activity and mentorship and encouragement of musicians here in the central Susquehanna Valley. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast featuring the one and only Rock Anello. Hey, we are back on the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast, and I am sitting down with a local legend. And I don't use that term lightly. I don't use it superfluously. This is the real deal. Rock Anello. I got it.
Good,
yeah, my gosh. We're going to hear some stories about you meeting all kinds of folks, but you are a local legend here in the Susquehanna Valleys. You've played with them all. And there's not too many names I've thrown out that you don't know them. So welcome.
Thank you, Michael. It's an honor to be here. The Rec Room, very cool.
Oh, yes. So, Rock, where did this journey for you start? Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Where things happen?
I was born in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, 1949. I started playing drums when I was 10 years old. I had a snare drum. I took lessons, but they kept me on the pad, and I wanted to be a rock and roll drummer. So I saved up money, and I bought a set of Kent drums from DeLuca Music back in 1965. And I saved for a car, and I had a band around here, and I took off for Connecticut. But the band I was here with in 1967 was the Jesters. And I don't know if you old folks remember the Jesters. It was Richard Rupert, Charlie DeSanto, Jim Marvin, Mark Rank, and myself. I was lead singing then. And we had a good unit, and that phased off for different bands, Dear Jessica. So I spent a lot of years here. But then I went to, in 69, I went to Woodstock on my motorcycle. And after Woodstock, we formed another band, Mississippi Sea, and took off to Connecticut and ended up in Nashville into Colorado. So,
all right, hold on. So wait a minute, back the motorcycle up, Rock. So you went to Woodstock. So you left Williamsport on a motorcycle and went to Woodstock.
Yep.
You got to tell us about that.
Okay, when I got to Woodstock, we were heavily... No, I can't do that part. Then we got to Woodstock. I broke down in Scranton, so I got there the next day, and this was a good one. The line was forever, right? And my bike was an old 59 XLCH, and it was heating up. So finally, we got up to right where I had to shut it down, and there's where all the motorcycle gangs were on the side of the road, and I thought, oh boy... So this big man, he looked like Pigpen on the Hells Angels. He come walking to me, and I got off the bike, and I thought, boy, I didn't know what was going on. And he looked at me and goes, "That's a nice bike, son." And I looked at him, and he goes, "What?" I said it was overheating. He goes, "Well, you let that cool down. When you're done, we're going to send you up the Harley lane." Cool down. What we did is they had all these guys separated. We went right up past all these people, right up to where we were going. And I took one guy to the infirmary. His wife was having a baby, and everything. So he asked me if I could ride on the bike. So I took him to that. But
so wait a minute. She's having a baby. She's in labor, and she's riding on the bike with you?
No, I'm sorry. She was in labor at the tent. And he was like, he come up to me and he said, "Hey, is that your Sportster?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, can you take me to the aid station?" I said, "Yeah, man, get on the bike, So I took him down to at the very end where there was like 3 state police cars, New York State Police, and I pulled the bike. I had my helmet. I put my helmet on. It was on my sissy bar, and I put the helmet on, and I got there, and one state policeman goes, "Come here. And one of them goes, "Hey, this is Woodstock. You don't need your helmet." And I said, "Well, okay." My knees are shaking. I didn't know. So this guy said, I explained to him that this guy his wife was in the infirmary. They took him right down, man. And so about 4 hours later, we're sitting. We had a little campsite. We went to Woodstock with some people from Mitchell College, and they kind of knew what was going on. We had a tent. We had 355-gallon barrels of water. And he come back and he had this bag of whatever. We didn't do the whatever in the bag, but he said his wife had a little girl. So I was responsible for that. But that was I saw everybody,
Oh shoot, yeah.
But,
that's a hell of a story. So from Woodstock, then you were with.
After it was kind of hard. It's a long time ago. We were hooked up with a band Mississippi Steve, two guys from Connecticut, and Mark Rank and myself.
Okay.
And we played up around Providence and that, and we ended up going. We went to Nashville and hooked up with these guys in Nashville. Get that. And we hooked up with an agency, and they sent us up to Boston and that. We traveled, and anyway, we didn't do too good out there. There was a lot of bands that had more money. They were flashy.
Yeah.
And we got fired at one place, so we had enough money. We were going to go to Woodstock to see if we could hook up with Stephen Stills, because this Dan Curlin was his lady friend was out there and was working at Caribou, and she knew all they had everybody out there, Stills and Joe Walsh and all them.
And when you say Caribou, that's Caribou Recording Studio out in Colorado.
Studio, yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's now done. They don't record out there anymore.
The last I'd seen anything of that building, it was like somebody's trying to revive it, but it's falling apart. And it really is sad when you see the pictures of it. But for all you kids out there listening, back in the heyday, back in the early 70s, Caribou was it.
Place. That's where Elton John recorded his album Caribou.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And the assistant engineer Jim Gercio, his brother Jeff, he was a good friend of ours, and I never recorded in there, but I did play Danny Seraphine's drums. That was really cool.
I was just going to say, Chicago recorded, I know at least their first 2 or 3 albums at Caribou, because Gercio was involved with them somehow.
He picked them up when they were coming out of Chicago.
Yeah.
So I don't know the whole story of them, but
I don't either.
But anyway, so when we met Danny and we were out of the band. We were playing at Tulagi's down in Boulder. That was the hip place.
Okay, so you're in Colorado now.
Oh, yeah, I got
That's okay. We'll keep you straight.
Yeah,
so we went from Connecticut, Nashville, and then Colorado.
Right.
Now, what took you to Colorado? Just
we get Nashville we weren't happening. We wanted to go. And Danny, our friend Dan Curlin, had a friend that Peggy that worked at Caribou. And she said, "Come on out." So we stayed in a little place where, after a while, the septic, everything, we couldn't stay there. And some lady friend of ours at that time said, "We have a teepee. You just got to put it together." So we got a book on how teepees. Got a book on mycology, which is study of mushrooms.
Mushrooms, yeah. And
we lived in a teepee, and we played our music, drank whiskey, which is. And played our music, and one thing led to another, and got a job in Boulder. But anyway, they were the teepee days. So,
so there's Rock living in Colorado in a teepee.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so did you rub elbows with any of the people that recorded at Caribou?
Just not really. No, I mean, the people that Caribou was when the people were up here. They had lock gates and that.
Okay.
You couldn't get up there.
All right.
Okay.
But didn't you ever run in with the guys from Chicago in some capacity?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Tell them the story of the whole. Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Michael John was in our band in Rainbow Gold Mining. He was a singer-songwriter. Well, he was coming.
The name of the band was Rainbow
Gold Mining.
Rainbow Gold Mining. Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry. By the way, Michael's a great guy, y'all. Okay, so anyway, Michael John was coming up the canyon. It snowed. It snowed all day and all night. And Michael John had an old golden Guernsey, one of those Dodge trucks with chains on every wheel, and he had about 700 pounds of cinder blocks in the back.
Yeah.
He was a crazy guy anyway. I make a long story short, he was coming up the canyon, and he saw a car spun out. Half of it was in like a little ravine ditch, and there's two guys in leather coats. And so Michael John, of course, he picks them up, and they get in, and they say, thank you, man, we, and warmed up, and Michael John drove. He said, where are you going? And the guy said, we're going to Caribou Ranch. And Michael John, he goes, I turned on the light right away, because I knew. He said, in here it was Dan Seraphine, the drummer, and Leger d'Oliver. He was a conga player that played on the second album, and he was from Brazil, 66. Wow. Anyway, Michael John brought him. We had a place in Big Springs, the Rainbow House. He brought him and
so you've moved from the teepee into a house. So you've moved up.
We move and bounce around.
Got it. Okay, so you've moved up into the house. Okay, good.
Moved into the house. So I get a knock on the door. I'm in my room. I'm there, and Michael John said, hey, someone wants to meet you. And I said, who is it, Michael John? He goes, it's Dan Seraphine. And I went, okay, I'll be right out, thinking, okay, good, Michael John. This is a good one. So I'm sitting there, and Michael John comes back, and he said, hey, I'm serious, Rock. And when I knew he was, I walked out there, and there's Dan Seraphine. I studied him and the Allman Brothers. That's where it was wow, what a dude, man. He ended up, next morning, they stayed there till morning, and we went up there, and it was just, I sat on his drums. They toured the whole studio. And we became friends. And it lasted about 2 or 3 months, and then they took off. They got done with their albums. But that was the story of Danny Seraphine. Wow. We played a couple of nights later at a place called Tulagi's. It was on the hill in Boulder. And Danny Seraphine and Leger came in and sat in, did Compared to What. Remember that? Try to make it real compared to what?
Oh, yeah.
And that was great, man.
Wow. Did we tell the story of Dan? We did tell the story of Dan Fogelberg already, have we not? I think
so, didn't we? Or
I don't know. I can't keep up with you.
Oh, there's a go. Okay, we were, Mark, Smitty from here, Smitty and Whitty came out to Colorado to visit us, and we were in the Pioneer Inn. Now, this is a bar. It's in Nederland. Caribou to Nederland was probably 4 miles. A lot of the guys from that record at Caribou would come into Pioneer Inn and that. Anyway, one Saturday morning we're in there, and we were singing doo-wopping, As We Stroll, Since I Don't Have You,
Just by yourself,
just by yourself, a cappella with a tuning fork. Ding, there's A, ding, there's B. And we're singing, and the bartender, which is a good friend of ours, came up and said, hey, there's a man down at the end of the bar, he wants to know if he can come up and sing with you. And we said, well, can he sing? Well, oh, he can sing. What's his name? He goes, his name's Dan Fogelberg. We went, well, who's he?
Well, this is before he. Yeah.
Well, I think he had an album out, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
And anyway, to make a long story short, he came and sang with us. And as soon as he started singing, I knew he had something because his voice was just gold. Yeah. And we got to be friends. And we every time Danny was finishing, he lived up in Nederland, in the house above Nederland. Mm-hmm. And he won a jam, so we get a bunch of our local guys and have a jam session for him and that. So he was a great guy.
Wow.
But like everything, he went one way and we went the other. So.
Yeah. Now before Colorado, before all this, in Williamsport, you even back when you were playing in high school bands, did you not rub elbows with a songwriter?
We opened up for Todd Rundgren. Nas.
Yeah, the Nas,
Nas, and then we opened up for Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
He was a great man. He was a good man.
Yeah.
We didn't know he was going to be a superstar. He had that, girl, you'll be a woman soon. Love you so much, can't count on the ways, man. When he started singing that, I thought, boy, I didn't know whether to go home and practice or retire then, but I went home and practiced.
Well, I'm glad you did. Okay, so when I said at the top of the show, so this man is a legend. Not just because he's met and hung out with all these guys, but we'll get into, his time back here in Williamsport. So you're still in Colorado, and you stayed there how long?
I stayed there about off and on for about 25 years.
25 years. Okay.
But I was playing with a guy. His name was Pork Armstrong, and he was a singer-songwriter. And Pork was an entertainer. He was the entertainer. and we played all around. We played Aspen, we played Vail. I played Aspen on Christmas night. You talk about something out of a comic book, a fairy book.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it was just like, you see the train tracks, your platform at home, these little houses. It was just like that,
No kidding.
But make a long story short, when we got done that, Pork went back to Champaign. That was where he was from. So I came back to Pennsylvania, in and out of whatever. Yeah. And I get a phone call from Pork. He said, hey, you want to come play drums with me? I'm in Decatur. So I bought a car, and this was a different car, an old Fiat, and I drove me and my drums to Decatur, Illinois.
Wait a minute. You fit a whole drum kit into a Fiat?
Yeah.
You are the man.
Yeah. And we had one of these big, I just took out the back seat and I took out the front seat and threw them away because I didn't know if the car would make it or not. Okay. So I get there and we played for Pork for about 6 months, and then Pork wanted to do something else, and I didn't know what to do. So he says, I got you hooked up with a band called Duke Tomato and the All-Star Frogs. And he goes, it's a blues band. And I said, I'm not a blues band, but I'll play it. So anyway, I met Duke. And Duke, by the way, him and the drummer, Gary, I forget the drummer for REO. They started REO. Okay.
REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon.
Okay.
And they were working out of the same agency, Blytham Limited, as we in Champaign. So I meet these guys, and there's some bad ass boys, man, from black, and that. I'm thinking, Anyway, I passed the audition. I could only play with my bass drum, snare drum, and hi hat.
Really?
For the rehearsal. We did 2 weeks of rehearsing,
okay.
Yeah. And Duke used to say, if you ain't got it on that, then you ain't got it.
Oh, funny.
So we played anyway. I played with Duke for about 3.5 years, and then I just got tired of being on the road. I mean, we was constantly traveling,
And this is when, time frame?
This is 1975, 76,
okay.
77, and 78.
Wow.
So I left Duke, and we've gotten a few. He was Italian from Chicago, and I'm Italian from here. And of course, we butt heads every now and then. But I opened up for Cheap Trick. I opened up for, I don't know if you remember the Jazz Crusaders.
No.
Da, 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 da.
I remember the song, but I don't remember that.
Was Stix Cooper.
Okay.
He was like, we went to where we were. It was at the theater in Peoria. I forget the name of it. So we went in, I'm walking to my dressing room, and I hear this guy sitting there with a pad and then a stick, and I peeked in his room, and it was Stix Cooper. This is an all-time idol. Wow. This guy, he was sitting there, and he was eating a sandwich, reading a magazine, and doing like single sixes on his knee. I went, no one does that stuff. So I'm looking, I went, wow, I hear this, hey, come on in. And I said, man, what an honor, sir. Well, are you playing with that Duke Tomato guy? Yeah, I said, yeah. And he goes, well, I'm going to be watching. I said, man, he was such a great man. When I got there and the place was packed, and my knees started shaking, which it never did. Yeah. And Duke waited till I calmed down, and then we started, and I was okay. And as I looked, there he was in the side of the stage just looking at me. And I'm going, man, my heart was going 100 miles an hour. All I could do is I didn't care about how good I sounded. I just didn't want to drop a stick. But that was the Jazz Crusaders.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Cheap Trick, I remember we opened up for them, and what's the guitar player's name?
Rick Nielsen.
Yeah, the guy with the
hat. Looks like Hunt's Hall.
He was sitting there. Yeah. Like the East Side Comedy. Remember?
Exactly. Yeah, Hunt's Hall.
So he's sitting there and he's looking there. And he's up there and he had a pick, and he had a little thing on the seat out there, a little like target, and he's going. And that pick would go and hit all the time hit the target. I'm going.
Well, he still does. He has the picks lined up on his microphone. He
can sit over there and hit you in the head, and the thing would turn.
Oh yeah.
So we opened up for a few. And so that was my trip with Duke. And after a while, like I said, I got tired. It was just all running around and that. So
Now, you have a good story about Ray Bolger, though. And for all the young kids out there, Ray Bolger played the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, but Ray Bolger met rock.
Okay. So, Well, I was with the Spiral Staircase, Mike Gashare. It was a sanctioned band, and what I mean by that, it wasn't any of the recording players. It was just a band that we did the staircase. It wasn't a tribute band. It was a staircase because the man that booked this Air Force tour, by the way, Michael's an Air Force man, a lot of respect for the band. But anyway, we started Air Force. I drove from Boulder to Selma, Alabama, hooked up. We started in Florida, did all the Air Force bases up to Eastern Tier, crossed over Canada, the Trans-Cam Highway into Caribou, Maine. Went Caribou, Maine into Plattsburgh.
Plattsburgh? Oh, yeah.
Plattsburgh, did all the Northern Tier. I can't even think of some of the Air Force
there's
bases.
Griffiths Air Force Base in New York. I hope you played there because I was stationed there in the mid-'80s. Griffiths Air Force Base in Rome, New York. It's just west of Plattsburgh.
Yeah, we did. Of course we did. I
hope you did.
I remember we
did. It was
did,
long before I got there, but because I would have came to see you.
So anyway, we ended up. They did 9 months. I got into the 6 months into the tour. All we did was drive and play. And Officers Club, NCOs, non-commissioned, and
Airmen's Club.
Airmen's Club.
Airmen's Clubs. Oh yeah.
Good. And so anyway, we got done with our tour, and we ended up playing at the MGM Grand in Reno. And what a thrill that was, So we did a staircase would do an hour, and then another band would do an hour, and we just switched off and on. Well, this is where the story comes in. We were on a break, right? And this is about maybe 10 minutes into it. Now Mike comes in. He goes, "Hey, I want you guys out. Get dressed back up. We weren't undressed, but just
get back into your stage costume.
Get back to your stage stuff." So we got in, and we're standing in line. And around the corner comes this man with a little little driver's hat on. And I kept looking. He looked familiar, but I didn't know who he was. And two beautiful women escorting him. And so he gets up, and we're in a straight line, And he's looking up. He starts at the end, and he's looking up, and he walks past, talking to everybody, walks past me. And I went, well, I don't know who he is. Maybe you don't like me. So... And then he backs up and he looks at me and he says, "You the drummer, huh?" I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Yeah, you're no Buddy Rich." I went, "Well, not too many people are." He said, "You make ugly faces when you play." Obviously, he saw the first show we did and I didn't know it. I said, "Yeah." He said, "But you got the beat, son." I was honored, man. I was shaking so much. Anyway, but all right, good enough. Everybody's crowding around him, asking questions, and we didn't have much time. We were going to go back on, so I said, "Hey, Mr. Bolger," I said, "do you dance?" "Oh, I don't dance anymore. That was years. Where you been? It was years ago." I said, "What I used to do around pirouette?" He said, "That's called a pirouette, son." And I said, "What? Can you do one?" Mike goes, "Come on, mister." Everybody's, all the guys are patting him on the back. Well, he turns and his wallet was sticking out of his pocket. And I bumped into him, I'm kidding. I pulled his wallet and I had it in my lapel. So he turns around and he goes, "Now listen, I'll be in the front row." And we used to do Manhattan, da 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 da. Ladies and gentlemen, from Las Vegas and da 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 da. The Spot Case Dancers, boom. So, anyways, I want to hear Manhattan. I want to hear more than yesterday. I want it soon because I can't stay long. Yeah. So he turned around and I said, "Hey, Mr. Bolger." I said, turns around and he goes, I said, "Are you missing anything?" And he turned around. I had his wallet and I was smiling at him. He came up to me and he goes, "Well," he said, "you're honest, I must say." And he goes, "And a professional pickpocket." He goes, "Well done." And folks, when we opened up the curtains, he was right there. Boy, I tell you, it was the biggest concert I ever played. Yeah. It was such an honor. He was right there, and I'm playing for the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz.
No kidding. Now, the Spiral Staircase, for all the young kids out there, they were known for
more today than yesterday.
More today than yesterday.
Right. They had, in fact, it still plays on the, radio, But we had a horn band, and Barry Hirsch was a conductor in that. And so, funny. Yeah, and Rob Byam, he from here. He was on that tour with us.
Okay, I don't know him.
He plays on the jazz with Joel and them. Joel Vincent,
okay, all right.
Rob Byam.
Yeah.
But man, he was on the staircase with us. So.
So you finish your Air Force Base tour. You're in Reno at the MGM Grand. After that,
they took all our money. I was with a lady, I don't like her, but anyway, and went back to Indiana, and we just. I don't know what, after that, we went back to Colorado and I got a job. I worked in the high-tech industry for about 5 years, storage tech. It was like an IBM, so I did my work there. And then played with the band Austin Sharp. Austin Sharp had a manager, Don Reed. He was a wrestler, the Assassin. Him and his brother was the Assassin 1, the Assassin 2.
Okay.
He owned a Elkland Broadcasting. It was in Denver. They taught people how to be DJs, and, to do stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I wrote a couple songs. We had 12 songs we recorded and sent to Nashville, where they picked 2 of the songs of the ones I wrote. Cool. Georgia Border Bound and In Search of Another Round, about drinking. That's a nice song. I'll play that for you someday. Okay. And we almost had a record deal, but something fell through, and it was the first American-Canadian label to mesh. It was called American Label. And Don had a temper, and when the lady didn't get what he wanted, he got upset one day and shook her desk, and she said, "That's it." Wow. So, yeah.
Well, so a couple of your songs that you've written kind of made the rounds in Nashville. You're doing that now. One of the songs that you've written is been recorded by someone from here, but out in Nashville, correct?
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, Sarah, if you're listening, Sarah Snyder came to me years ago through an open mic. I met her at an open mic, and she asked me if I teach music. I said, I have taught. I said, but I said, I don't charge money because I don't believe in that. But I said, also, have you ever played? I haven't never played. I said, well, do you ever don't sing? Oh, do you have a guitar? No. I went, Lord said, rock. Come on. I went, all right. So I taught her a couple things. It took forever, but she finally started to get on. And a couple times I went, well, you're on your way now. You can do. She wouldn't leave me alone. So I said, well, if she's going to keep bugging me like that, I'm going to teach her. So I taught her, and eventually I've written a lot of stuff, not a lot, maybe 5 or 6 songs with her, and she wrote the words. And I can write my own words, but a woman's perspective, then it just worked out.
Okay. And the first song that we're going to play of this collaboration with Sarah Snyder is called Tag Your It. And she wrote the words, correct?
Right.
Okay, and then you wrote the music and the arrangement in that. So we're going to play the version of this song that words by Sarah Snyder and music by Rock Anello. I got it right.
I got it
right. It's a long story, folks, but we're going to listen to Tag Your It and then come back and talk with Rock a little bit more. And I'm just floored talking to this man. He truly is a legend. But Tag Your It by Sarah Snyder, words by Sarah Snyder, and music by Rock Anello on the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast.
I never thought I'd get this far. You passed playing magic. It's playing a song with everyone singing along. Tag you're it, tag you're it, tag you're it, tag you're it. Cram my stuff into a bag, feeling like I'm playing tag. Mile after mile, again and again. Night after night, days to play. Cram my stuff into a bag, feeling like I'm playing tag. Tag you're it, tag you're it, tag you're it, tag you're it. Cram my stuff into a bag, feeling like I'm playing tag. Tag you're it, tag you're it, tag you're it, tag you're it. Cram my stuff into a bag, feeling like I'm playing tag. Woo!
Tag You're It. That is a great song. And is Sarah still out in Nashville? Is she?
No, Sarah was from here. Sarah went down to Nashville with $500, and she hooked up with these session players. And they some of the arrangement at the end they did, but the whole song was. I wrote the song so she could play easy chords and play for her friends.
Yeah.
And that's where it got started.
Yeah.
Now,
Three chords in the truth is all you need.
No,
So,
that's
yeah.
So she recorded. We recorded about 4 songs. Lee Fenstermacher, I don't know if you know him.
I've heard of him.
Very talented,
Yeah,
super talented man. He just sold out the Cell Block with Sorry, S-R-Y.
Okay.
But he did some recording, and make long story short, she took it to Nashville to have this recorded by session players, and that's
it.
what it came out like that. So
Cool.
now
Well,
she's a novice singer, but she's getting better all the time, and she is not a quitter.
Yeah. But she's had a good mentor. It sounds like she's had somebody that didn't blow her off, and I think that speaks volumes to you.
I was rough on her a few times, but only I said the more I yell, the means closer you're getting.
Yeah.
And her pitch at first, and I don't yell at people with pitch because that's a touchy one. Now drummers, you don't do that. Boom! I used to get the ruler on the hand when I was a kid.
I've got a ruler story. The guitarist in our band, Prairie Dogma, was Bruce Barr, and he lives down in Winfield. And we tried to do a reggae song, and I'm an old folkie, and they tried to get me to play on the 3 and the reggae stuff, and I couldn't do it, man. I could not do it, and I still have the marks on my wrist where Bruce would, and Bruce was like that. He'd get mad, and say, oh, you got to play it this way. But he's like you, you're trying to get the best out of somebody,
right,
and you push them. But so she was lucky that she ran into you and that you didn't blow her off.
No, she a couple of times I said, Sarah, she goes, well, we got to play in the band. I said, Sarah, I'm not. I just wanted to teach you so you can go out and, you want to be a singer-songwriter, and that's all she wanted. I wanted to give you just easy chord songs so you could go out and play for your friends. Because I liked Sarah. She was a good person and just wouldn't quit. Like I say, she wouldn't go away. And so I kept thinking, if you don't go away, I'm not going to go away.
Good for you. Good for her.
And then we're still writing. She comes over. She'll come over probably in the next couple of weeks. So we have about 3 songs that I've already written for.
Well, keep us in mind as she gets these recorded. We'll get her featured on the radio show. So you're still in Colorado. You're kind of working in tech, but you're playing in bands. When did you come back to Williamsport?
Well, I got
Get us to Williamsport with whatever stories you need to get us there.
I was in Colorado, right, and after a while, alcohol came into the picture.
Oh, yeah.
And I got pretty well strung out on alcohol. Mm-hmm. I just didn't, a lot of my friends were passed on, and some friends, it was a bad time for me, and I guess I didn't care. I gave up caring.
Yeah.
And one day I woke up and my feet were numb. And boy, I knew I was in trouble then, so I called my sister. This was back in 2003, and I said, "Hey, sis," I said, I'm pretty sick, and I want to know if you can send me the money to get a bus home." And she said, "Well, just talk to my brother-in-law, which I love, Jim." And Jim said, "Tell him to get us home."
Yeah.
And so I
and home being Williamsport.
Home being Williamsport,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm
So
tracking.
I got on a bus 2.5 days from Loveland, Colorado to Williamsport. And there was stories on the bus. But anyway, I got home and I started 90-90. I went to all sorts of rehab. And I was an outpatient, And so anyway, May 6th will be 20 years.
God bless you, man. Good work.
Yeah, and and I've been playing around bars. I played with, of course, the flip side. Y'all know the flip side with Shane and Kathy. And I've played, I don't know, maybe 1,000 times places since we got back to get, with the band started in probably 2005. Yeah. And but never wanted to drink.
Yeah, it's tough for a recovering alcoholic to go out to the places that we play. I mean, it's got to be tough to have that. I mean, do you mind sharing how you kind of, how you approach that?
First of all, I never drank around here. So the people, places, and things, I wasn't,
Okay.
And I came back here knowing that I was done drinking. No matter what, I was done because I was done.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to let down any of my friends, but I didn't want to let down myself, know. And so I just play, and I one thing I won't do, I won't try to explain to an alcoholic to go to rehab when he's drunk. You never try to talk to an alcoholic when he's drunk, but I've had some people that have gone to rehab. Once you get there, you're on your own, but I was fortunate. I do love the Lord. He was right with me the whole way, Yeah. So
I'm glad he was because, so you came back in 2003.
2003.
So you've played with Shane Whitman and Kathy Evangelista and
well, it was me, Frank, and Shane. Me, Frank Cassell, and Shane.
Okay, so tell us the story of Flipside then.
All right. Well,
so you're original member of that band.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I about 5 months and I forget it, in 2003, I went to Shane's great grandmother's funeral viewing. And my brother-in-law, he said, "You want to go?" I said, he goes, "Are you healthy enough, Rock?" I said, "Yeah, I got to go see Grammy B." And it was at Manible's funeral home. And I walked in, and first thing I opened, here's Shane opened the door. And I remember Shane as a young little kid now. Yeah. And, we have iron and outs, but he took my hand, and he hasn't let go of my hand since.
He's a good man. Shane
he
is a good man.
hasn't let go of my hand since. And he introduced me to everybody. Joel,
being Joel Vincent?
Yeah,
oh, my God.
He introduced me to a
Now,
lot
did
of
Joel
people.
have his pants on or his pants off when...
Well, that's one thing I can't really discuss that.
That's a running joke here. Anybody that talks about Joel Vincent, we have to establish whether he had pants or not. So that's an
First time we played the Community Arts Center, the lounge, Joe and I were on the elevator, and I looked, and I said, Joe said, "Hit the 2R. I said, "What's a 2R? He said, "To rear." And I looked, and that was a standing joke. To the rear, gentlemen, to the rear.
Oh, funny. Okay. Yeah. Joel, I'll tell you what. We had talked about this earlier off the and you're now. Don't let me forget to ask you how you got from drums to bass, because you're an excellent bass player. But we talked about this earlier. There's Joel Vincent. There's a lot of good drummers, but there's guys that keep a beat and they're metronomes, and then there's guys and gals that play the drums, and they play it like a true instrument, like a guitarist approaches a guitar. And Joel's one of them. He is just a phenomenal drum player.
Joel, in 5 minutes of him warming up, and what he does in 5 minutes of warming up takes some people a lifetime to learn. And I believe me, I've sat there and I hear everything he does. But getting back to the flip side, Shane said we were singing harmony, and Shane goes, "I know a guy that's a really good singer, but he has a substance problem." So we can cut that. And so I went down, and it was Frankie Cassell.
Oh,
this man can sing.
Yes, he can.
I mean, he was just phenomenal. He wasn't a great harmony singer, but as long as you sang your part, So we did the flip side. And I'll tell you what, the first time we hit harmony, my heart about jumped out of my chest.
Yeah.
All the stories, everything went by the wayside because I had my 2 guys I always wanted, three cats that can sing.
Yeah.
And Frank stiffed us on a couple shows. I don't know whether to say that or not, but
you're good. I mean, bands either split apart or members leave for whatever reason. I mean, it just happens.
So Shane goes, man, we don't need a drummer. We need a bass player. And I said, well, I used to do some recordings on my own with a little 4-track, and I'd have a bass player. So to get halfway through the song, I'd make a mistake. So I went, that's enough. So I learned how to play bass.
Yeah.
So I could, and that's how I came about playing bass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, because any good band, I say, your band is only as good as your bass player and your drummer are,
Yes, sir.
And they got to be locked. So that's got to be a help for you, having been a drummer for all those years, to be a bass player and say, I know where I've got to be in the pocket with this person.
Absolutely.
That's why you are a legend.
Wow.
Seriously, because you know that.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know everything Joel's doing, and that's, believe me, when you hear everything Joel's doing, but I play with Mark Peterson, and he's a great drummer. I've played with Dick Cummings, great drummer.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, but I can hear what they're playing.
Yeah.
I maybe can't play what they play, but I can hear what they're playing.
And you just get in the pocket?
I just stay in the pocket.
Yeah.
So I always say I'm a bass player. I'm a bass player that plays drums on his bass.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, I'm wrapping my head around that, because that's why you are such in demand, and why. Well, I mean, I've seen Flipside play, and and the harmonies blow me away, but just that rhythm section, whoever you're playing with, and you got. Did you have a regular drummer? No. So you would have the Joel Vincents and the Rich Cummings come in.
Yeah, whoever. I get to places we're playing with the band, and I say, "Who's drumming tonight?" Oh wow, cool. So I got the and they were all really good drummers.
Yeah.
Bert Smeal, Mark Peterson, Joel Vincent. Joel's the man.
Oh,
Joel,
we sing Joel's praises, but he is the real deal. I mean, but. Again, this area is just full of talented musicians. I mean, you rattled off a good handful of drummers that could go anywhere in this country and probably. Oh, I
always said that about a lot of them. You go down to Nashville, but
we're just so glad that they're still here. Uri Klein's another one that. Like I said, there's drummers that keep a beat, and there's drummers that play the drums, and Joel and Uri are the ones that just always spring to my mind that they play the drums.
Yep.
And Joel, you can plop him down anywhere, and he'll just fly. I played down at the old Bull Run Tap House. Remember when they used to have the Steve Mitchell used to do the old.
Was that drummer?
Yeah, Steve Mitchell was the drummer, and he used to have the mashup on Monday nights down at the Bull Run Tap House.
Yeah, okay.
And this was early on in my, when I started doing the music thing back here. And I played with Charlie Holmes and Joel Vincent. And they made me sound good, and I stunk. But they made me sound Charlie Holmes.
Charlie Holmes, here's a good one. When I got back, I went to the assistants. And, just to get some money, just to start my life, rebuild my life. And they sent me to West Branch Drug and Alcohol.
Right. Yep.
And I walked in, there's Charlie Holmes.
Yeah.
What a great man.
Yep.
And we talked, and he, and it's funny when he said, I said, I played with Shane Whitman. He goes, I'll tell you, he goes, I live next to him. He's a drinker. You might want to think about that. Because I'm all right. But Charlie Holmes was instrumental in helping me get my life back together.
Wow. And
he sent me to White Deer outpatient. Because you had to get a referral, or White Deer wouldn't let you in.
Okay.
And and I always say, Mr. Holmes. He goes, my name is Charlie, not Mr.
Yeah.
He's probably the premier bass player around here.
The first person I have met, I forget where I saw him playing, and he was playing a limbic bass, and I was like, shoot, man, I've never seen anybody in real life playing a limbic bass. And there's this guy in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Well, I had he sat in with us on bass for a couple of gigs. I don't want this to be about me, but this is a funny Charlie Holmes story. So Charlie came and he came to my studio, and Bruce Barr was there. Dave Jackson's our percussionist, and Charlie said, "Do you have charts?" And I just need the words and where the chords are approximately. I said, "Oh yeah, Charlie." I said, "Here's the charts." He looked at those and he said, "What the hell are these?" Yeah. So that's a running joke now in our band. It's charts. What the hell are these? These aren't charts. So Bruce rewrote the charts for me so Charlie could read them. But Charlie is a great man, and I truly do love him. And and that doesn't surprise me that he was instrumental in getting you.
He was there, and then, like I say, every time I see him on tape, will you quit calling me Mr. Holmes? I said, it's out of respect, Charlie.
Yeah.
So how about Mr. Charlie? Oh, that's better. So, but no, I remember we were Shane. They live right next to each other on rural. Okay?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Shane.
Okay.
So I go out there, we take a break, and he's down. And this was a couple of years ago. He's playing Frankenstein. And he played the whole thing on his bass. He was playing guitar things. He had there was a looper. I'm going. I just sat there in amazement. I went, "You'll never get that good, so don't try." But one thing I will say. I'm 74 years old and I'm still playing only because I sing harmony. So if any bass players out there, learn to sing harmony, not backup, harmony, and you'll work till you're 75 if you want.
I played bass in a high school band, a little garage band, and I could not. It took me a long time to learn how to sing and play bass at the same time. I don't know what it is. A lot of bass players don't sing. So I'm impressed that
I was singing playing drums though. I sang,
no kidding.
Yeah, I sang all the time playing drums. Wow. I didn't sing with Duke because that was a blues band.
Sure. Yeah.
But that was okay. We did a couple blues with a feel and we had a little backup. But I grew up playing drums and singing. That was my deal.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, we just talked to George Nash a couple of weeks ago.
I love George.
Yeah, he's a character.
He's great.
But he plays with a Coast to Coast Electric Trio and he sings.
Yeah.
So we were Joe. I said, there's not too many drummers that sing, and I said, Levon Helm, and he was like, "Who's that?"
Oh.
I'm like, "Come on, you don't know who Levon Helm?" He was joking, but we that
was the beat he used in Cripple Creek.
Oh yeah. But so you sang playing. God bless, man. You're.
I remember real quick, George. I met. I always liked George, and one day he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I can do something you can't do." I went, "Well, what's that?" And he said, "I can play Wipeout with the beer on my head."
He told us about this. Go ahead.
I went, "Well, yeah, I don't believe you."
I thought he was bullshitting.
No, I believed him. I went, "I don't believe you." I went and saw him, and the son of a gun put a beer on his head, played Wipeout. And I went, I love George.
Yeah, he says now
guy.
he has to graduate. He has to put a keg on his head now to do it because a glass of beer, it's no big deal. He has to put a keg on his head now.
Steve Kern writes some good songs.
He does.
He writes
Steve Kern,
good music. So
yep, we feature him on the radio show, and he's got 2 albums worth of good stuff. And
he does.
And we recorded them a couple weeks ago and recorded their live stuff. And he said, "We got to get back in the studio and record some of his newer stuff." He does. He's a great song. And Jenny, his wife, is a really good. She's a gearhead. We've established that she's a violin gearhead. She has the pedals, and she has like 2 or 3 violins she brings with her. So we joked with her that she's the gearhead of the band. So
I was playing bass with them for a little while, but my plate was getting full. You know what I mean? So,
well, that's the other thing in this area is that a lot of guys and gals play with different bands, and I don't see how y'all keep it straight.
It's tough. Well, we're going to play some place that, well, let me check my calendar. Well, we're playing with the other band. It's like, and I'm in a kind of I have another little ensemble, the Sweet Jane, that we play around. And, so.
Oh, wow. We're going to play another song that you and Sarah Snyder wrote called Cryin Dry, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us about that one?
Here's another one, Sarah. I wrote the music so she could play, just easy chords so she could play. Yeah. And she wrote the words, and we recorded it with Lee Fenstermacher was the engineer.
Okay.
So, yep. What was it?
So she recorded that here then?
Yeah.
Correct.
The only
Okay.
one recorded in Nashville was Tag Your It.
Okay. All
Like I
right.
say, you got to go down there and you pay them $500, $600.
Yeah.
They listen to it and they do it. So
Yeah.
that was we got some good players on that one. I like to have met them, but I never met them. So.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to listen to a song that Sarah Snyder wrote the lyrics to. You wrote the music to, called Cryin Dry, and it's on the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast.
Life is tense and I love today. My heart stays strong anyway. Button ends, opposite sides, not giving up, not saying goodbye. Hitting your world, dragging out a fight. It's best to let the day pass by. We can work it out later tonight. We'll get along just fine. Some days are really hard for me to get through. There's no telling what goes on from dawn till dusk. We share a hug and a grieving smile. We go through the motions, crying dry. We were playing around, having some fun. You left too soon, our bucket list ain't done. Best friends, partners in crime, not letting go, saying goodbye. I'm checking into places by myself. I miss you more than anyone else. You're there, watching over me, stumbling along my two left feet. Some days were really hard for me to get through. There's no telling what goes on from dawn till dusk. We share hug and a grieving smile. We go through the motions, crying dry. Crying dry. The farewell party was a bittersweet. We made a lot of good memories. Neighbors in the cul-de-sac, not ready to go, but everything's packed. Last stop filling up our truck. Sometimes far takes us out of touch. Moving to a new place is fun and scary. It's the next chapter in my story. Some days are really hard for me to get through. There's no telling what goes on from dawn till dusk. We share a hug and a grieving smile. We go through the motions, crying dry. Crying dry. Crying dry.
Cryin Dry by Sarah Snyder. She wrote the words and she sang it, but you wrote the music to it. And that was recorded here, correct?
Here.
That was recorded here
That
in
was
Williamsport.
recorded here.
Who's on that? Who's on that? or on that track, excuse me.
On Cryin Dry with Lee Fenstermacher. He was the engineer, and I produced it. But Lee, we got the song down. He laid the beat down. I laid an acoustic with the beat. And once I did, and I did the guitar. And Lee, in fact, did play an electric track on it. So it was just the three of us.
Wow.
And Sarah sang, and then I went and I did all the harmonies.
So it's you and Sarah doing the harmonies on that.
She sang the lead, and I did the harmonies. She wasn't a harmony singer, so.
Wow. So they multi-tracked you on the harmonies then?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Pan left, pan right.
Yeah,
And the thing about Lee, I had been in the studio, and Lee and I were a jump start from the beginning. I knew what he was doing. Not exactly, but I knew what he was doing. He knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was just click, click, click. Try this, try that. That's the one I want. I don't want that. Take that off.
Right.
And probably within 2 or 3 hours, we had the project done.
So you have enough experience in a recording studio that you kind of know your way around and know what you want, correct?
Pretty much,
yeah. Is that hard to? I mean, because I've recorded once and I was just like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
How do you develop that? I mean, or just that's your personality?
First of all, you got to know exactly what you want when you go in the studio. You already have it mapped out what I want.
Okay.
You know?
So you have the whole arrangement in your head when you walk in.
Oh, yeah, it was all done.
Okay.
All I said to Lee, I start playing a little bit of it, and I said, just give me a click track. So, I'm going to lay the acoustic down. That's how I started. Do a click track with the acoustic to keep the time.
Yeah.
So once I got done with that, Lee's jumping up and down. I got a drum beat for it. So we went through a few, and it was electronic, but I went, that's the one I want. So once we did that, and then I put the bass on, and then Lee did an electric guitar part. He said, can I do it? I said, oh, please do,
Yeah.
And then Sarah sang, and then when she was done, I went back in and I did all the background vocals myself.
Wow.
So
So this is essentially it's Sarah's track. I mean, she's the lead vocalist on it.
Right.
Had she been recording? Had she done the track in Nashville before this?
No, Nashville was the latest
This
one.
was okay. All right. I'm trying to keep. No, man. You're doing great. I'm the one who can't keep up. So you kind of produced and guided this particular the Cryin Dry and Sarah.
Right.
Is she still recording? Is she kind of doing?
She's waiting for me to say let's go do it again. So but we took some time off. She's with her husband and they drive truck. We're going to be recording soon. Like I say, she wouldn't go away. I love Sarah as my friend, and I figured if she ain't going away, then I'm going to hang with her. And so has she done any tracks without you though? No. At the Nashville, we went there, but
Okay, all right.
But she already had the full song. We already recorded "Tag You Right Here."
Okay, so
and she took it down. Okay, $500, and I'm surprised they let her sing on it. But they said they liked her voice. And I went, wow,
well, good. So now
she went from nasally to singing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something that's hard to teach.
You get to a point in your life where, I'm 60 years old. I know I'm not, I'm not in this to, but you get to a point where you get more pleasure with supporting and encouraging others to do their best or to do, and it sounds like that's you. Yeah.
Well, Sweet Jane, that was Shannon Millay and Mick Flanagan, Kathy's son.
Yeah.
And they come to me and they wanted, and actually I taught Mick how to sing harmony. So Shannon would sing her part. I had Mick singing the harmony, and then I'd take the fifth. And we've had a few gigs out and around, and people like us because it's all harmony.
Yeah.
But we had a little falling out with one of the players. So it's Shannon and I. And so we're going to regroup down the road.
Good.
Pretty much taught her that she was a singer before, but I'm the one that kind of pushed her. I don't mean to be ego, and I'm not.
No. See, again, you're an encourager, and that is such a great thing to be. I mean, because like I said, you could have blown Sarah off. I don't play guitar. I don't sing.
Do you know Paul Hively? Have you ever heard
I do.
Okay,
yes,
Paulie?
absolutely. Yeah.
Here, a good story real quick. Paulie comes to me. I played with Danny, his brother. I had jammed with Bobby Marshall and Danny. When I was getting back to playing drums, when I was after getting healthy again.
Yeah.
Anyway, along the way, Paulie, I got a call from Paulie. He said, "Hey, Rock Anello." I said, "Yeah." He said, "My name's Paul Hively."
Yeah.
I said, "Are you Danny's brother?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "How cool is that?" And he goes, "I hear you teach." I said, "I don't know. I show. I'm not a teacher. I show." He goes, "Well," he said, "Can you teach me how to play bass?" And I said, "Well, have you ever played bass?" He goes, "No." I said, "Do you have a bass?" He goes, "No." I went, here again, the Lord said, "Rock." And I went, "Come on over." So he did everything. I mean, I was hard on Paulie.
Yeah.
Hard, because I know he wanted it. And the thing that got him upset, as soon as he walked in, I said, "First of all, you're 2 to 5 years behind. You need to get it, Anyway, he started playing with Leo and KG. Now he's like a very good bass player.
Yes, he is.
And I taught him, you don't go up drunk, you don't go up stoned, you go up looking good, and you go up, make sure you always have lukewarm water if you're going to ever sing. And he's been one of my favorite. I love Paulie today.
Yeah, he is a good guy. I've met. He played with. Well, I think Leo's project before this, Leo and KJ, was Wheelin' and Dealin', I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Paul played bass with him when I met him. Oh, gosh, it's got to be.
I played one of their first time they played the 4th of July down there at the downtown.
Downtown?
Yeah, I was playing drums.
With Wheelin' and Dealin'?
Yeah.
No kidding. You played drums with. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So Sarah, you've collaborated with her on another song called "Yesterday's Makeup," correct?
Makeup.
Now, again, were you involved with that in the production and the recording on that?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
So, I wrote the song, and Sarah one day she goes, "Hey," she goes, "We recorded Yesterday's Makeup." I said, "You did?" And I said,
Without you? What the
without
heck?
me, yeah. And she goes. I said, well, how were you in the studio? She goes, I told him what key it was in, just like you told me. And my heart's going, I went, all right. Yeah. I'm just like a proud dad, And then she brought it to me, and I went, man, oh, man. I said, did I write this? She goes, yeah, don't you remember? I went, and then the more I played it, I went, yeah, I did write that,
Wow.
But it really did a good job. I don't know, she hooked up with some guys around Lewisburg, had a recording studio. They liked it. I don't know if she paid whatever, but that's how the Yesterday's Makeup came about.
All right, so we're gonna listen to this recording of Yesterday's Makeup. Sarah Snyder wrote the words, and you wrote the music.
Wrote the music.
So we're gonna listen to Yesterday's Makeup on the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast.
That's not
Yesterday's makeup, again, music by Rock Anello. And so Rock is not your given Christian name. Where did Rock come from?
Well, when I was a kid, the only way they could get me to behave was put me in a rocking chair and turn on the music at the hop. And I sit there and rock and listen to music. And that's where I learned my harmony, Danny and the Juniors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I also sang with my sisters. All my sisters sang harmony. So
how many siblings do you have? How many sisters?
I have 4 sisters. One I've never met. She died at a very young age, 9 months of pneumonia.
Yeah.
But my sister Roseanne, Kathy, and Kim, they're still living. And my brother, he OD'd in 1995 from painkillers, and that's sad.
Yeah, but you sang sibling harmonies with your sisters,
right?
Wow, I mean that's like there's nothing purer than sibling harmonies. Everly Brothers, the Bee Gees, I mean that's wow.
Yep. A couple of years ago, Kathy came in. My sister lives in Colorado, Kathy, and she came in and we did Helplessly Hoping at. Where was it? The patio lounge. Not patio.
The James.
The James.
Yeah.
And Kathy was singing the high part, and she's holding on to me, and she's shaking and that. And I said, "Come on, girls!" And we did it. And Shane looked over and he goes, "Man, that was so cool."
Oh wow, wow.
They don't sing. I always wanted to do it, but we're not good enough. But they always, But that's kind of the story on that one.
Oh man, so I would. Like I said, when I first met you, and then you and I are friends on Facebook. I said, I wonder if Rock is his given name because his parents were very had a good foresight to name their kid Rock. But even the nickname works.
Yeah,
so that's good.
It was Rocky. Everybody knows me as Rocky. And then when I got sober, finally, I wanted the Y off because it reminded him of a wine glass. This is stupid, but whatever works.
Hey, whatever works.
So I'm Rock. But they, hey, Rocky. They can tell they know me for all my life because it's Rocky. So, but
oh, that's good. Rock, it has been an absolute 100% honor to talk to you. John Piccolo is the bassist for Somerville. He sent me an email. He said, "You have got to talk to Rock Anello. He has such great stories." And like I said, I met you in passing, and I didn't know, and this has just been a wonderful experience. So I really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'll tell you what, man. Yeah. This was. A lot of people will say, I never knew that. I don't really blow horns, man. I just, I live for today. And if someone asks me, I'll tell them. And one thing, like I told John Piccolo is a good bass player.
Yes, he is.
I said, Johnny, I never tell you a lie. I mean, some of these stories you go, really? But I never tell a lie.
No.
There's more stories I don't even know that,
well, maybe we'll have to have you on again. You think of some more.
To.
You think of some more stories. We'll have you back on again. Go ahead.
But I want you to come to if you get time sometime. And that way I have all my stuff.
I'd love to.
And play guitar. I have guitars. Or bring a guitar, play.
It'd be my honor. I don't know if I could play in front of you though, because you're. I'm just a hacker.
No. Well, I'm a hacker who's just got a couple more years on you.
Well, this has been great. We are going to play out on a song just featuring Rock and a guitar, and Rock was as Rock is playing this. This is my D38, and it is just so great to have someone of Rock Anello's caliber playing my guitar. So we are going to hear "Just Thinking of You," and that's going to play us out of this episode of the podcast. Rock, again, it has been my privilege and honor to have you here today.
Michael, thank you.
All right.
I wish I could brag him up, but he don't like to get bragged up.
No. So. I'm doing that. I don't do this for me. I do this to help promote the music in this area, and we've got some wonderful musicians. Present company, probably one of the top guys. So
I appreciate it. I had a great time, man.
All righty. So this is Rock Anello playing us out. Just Thinking of You on the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast.
8:30 comes early, noontime I'm fine. Dinner goes by, you're still on my mind. The whistle she blows at the end of the day. I rush home to nothing, with nothing to say. Then I go to the kitchen, the coffee's not on. On my way down the hallway, I feel that you're gone. Then I go to the place where my dreams once came true. Now I'm lying alone, just thinking of you. Just thinking of you is the best I can do. 'Cause good's not enough to win back your love. Time after time, you're still on my mind. I'm alone and so blue, just thinking of you. Alone and so blue, just thinking of you.
What a great opportunity it was to sit down with Anello. We have an hour's worth of podcast here, and we barely scratched the surface. So we are going to have Rock back at some point and talk a lot more about his fascinating life. What a great guy, and it was just an honor for me to have him in the studio and pick his brain for a little bit and listen to his stories. So please check out the Rec Room Radio Hour each week on WXPIradio.org, 6 p.m. on Tuesdays Eastern Time. And while you're there, please consider donating to WXPI Community Radio in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, so we can keep bringing you the great music and content. So until next time on the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast, I'm your host, Michael Lundy. Stay tuned, don't fret, and play nice. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.